Well, it was another hot day across central Oregon, and we have two back-to-back cold fronts. Neither of them, as we go through the next couple of days, neither of them will bring any precipitation at all, but a huge shift in the weather pattern is on the way. Hey everyone, good evening. I'm meteorologist Darrell Winninger, and this is a deep dive into your most reliable forecast, starting off with just a view at precipitation chances through the next couple of days between now and Saturday at 10 p.m. There's no precipitation at all. During that time, we have two different fronts that are going to be impacting us, each one bringing those stronger winds on top of already critically dry conditions, and each one of them bringing the next dip in temperatures. So today was a last day of heat on the high desert for August because as we round out this month and go into September, we do have some ups and downs in temperatures, but we do not have much at all in the way of any rain expected. So it is going to be a dry into August, as it has been mostly a dry August altogether, and critically dry conditions are at the front of the forecast this evening. But if you are planning on getting out there and doing anything during the next couple of hours before sunset, just know that it is still warm. You'll want to stay hydrated and seek the shade if needed. But look at this. Across all of our area, across central Oregon, we have a mixture of clouds, some sun, a lot of sunshine for some of us, and some smoke out there. So smoke is still making an appearance in several of these cameras. Meanwhile, roads are very dry and traffic looks like it's rolling pretty smoothly. But when we focus in on a couple different cameras, these ones are courtesy of the Oregon Hazards Lab. These are fire detection cameras, and they constantly move around 360 degrees. And this is just a couple of views that we have right now. Now, the Hinkle Butte camera does show that there is some haze, some smoke in the air, and in that area, we've had some pockets of reduced air quality, but mostly throughout Jefferson County, so that smoke's still a little bit further to the north of us. Outside of that, it's not too bad, and we actually had just a little bit of improvement. So when it comes to the hourly average, we have good air quality across all of Central Oregon, all three of our counties. Now, there are some of those individual sensors that are showing a moderate or slightly reduced air quality, but here's the kicker. This smoke plume coming out of the Austin fire isn't really being reflected very well in the air quality because it's sitting just above the surface. We have one sensor near Maupin that's showing unhealthy air quality, and that's where the smoke plume actually is right now. Now, through the day, we started off with some poor air quality. That improved pretty quickly. Through the afternoon hours, we were back to sitting in the green or good air quality across Central Oregon. But as of right now, we still have a series of air quality alerts issued by the DEQ. These are in effect through noon Thursday, and then we'll start to see a few more changes. But even with temperatures falling, our fire danger is still going to be elevated. It's still going to be pretty high. So let's focus on this smoke forecast model. It starts us off with some of that smoke over Jefferson County. Remember, I said that Maupin sensor was showing unhealthy air quality, and when we look in that same area, we can see that smoke plume. Now, that is just overhead in some locations, but that's going to be digging further south into Jefferson County this evening. Later tonight, it spreads out a little bit more. So we're not talking smoke that's going to be as dense as it was last night or yesterday evening, or even as dense as it was this morning by the time we get to tomorrow morning, but we are looking at some just areas of poor air quality because of this, or at the least, reduced air quality. Now, there is a red flag warning until 8 p.m. Thursday, and that is because of the critically dry conditions we have across central, south central, and southeastern Oregon. Now, notice the series of red flag warnings is in effect for from Klamath and Lake County all the way through Hardy and Malheur County, but not really into central Oregon proper. And it looks like it's cutting a couple of those counties off on the northern edge. But either way, critically dry, breezy at times. That is a recipe for a quick fire spread. Meanwhile, with satellite and radar, we have no precipitation anywhere in sight at all. Now, there have been some clouds. These clouds are part of that weak front that I was talking about, and as they push through the high desert, we're not expecting any precipitation. In fact, the closest precipitation is over Idaho and Montana, and continuing to roll the other way, even looking at a few thunderstorm cells right around Idaho Falls, Pocatello, Twin Falls. But when it comes to the cloud cover over Central Oregon, it's just dry. So we've had these in and out clouds. We've had areas of smoke. We have some poor air quality, and we have a series of red flag warnings to our south. But when we look a little bit closer at satellite imagery, we were just looking at a blend between infrared and visible satellite imagery with radar thrown on top. Right now, we're looking at infrared satellite imagery, and the difference is visible imagery is pretty much a satellite taking an image and just showing where the cloud cover is, and we can get higher resolution with that. The infrared satellite imagery looks at the color of the cloud or the temperature of the cloud top and assigns a color to it. There's a little enhancement on this one to where it really pulls out those tall clouds. You'll see them in the oranges and reds. And so when it comes to what we're seeing across central Oregon, the few clouds we have are lower to mid level clouds, and they just don't have any precipitation at all. Meanwhile, these white lines, those are your isobars, and that means just a line of constant pressure, an equal line of pressure. And when they get tighter together, wind speeds are picking up. And so it is expected to get a little breezy here through this evening. There's a low pressure just offshore, right off of Vancouver Island, and this is gradually going to work its way inland, but the cold front associated with it, two things are going to happen. Number one, that cold front pretty much fizzles out, and the rain dies with it. There's just no rain. It's a moisture-starved environment right now. And number two, that low pressure is going to bring a dip in temperature. So, cold front, yes. Wet front, no. In fact, the next system that rolls through on Saturday, Friday night going into Saturday, that's also not going to bring any precipitation at all. In fact, when we look at the forecast model, this actually almost looks like a dull forecast model. It looks like some clouds through the Cascades, but nothing makes it to our side of the mountains. Winds pick up each afternoon and evening, and then we're back to square one at the beginning of each day. But in reality, it couldn't be further from the actuality of what's happening. Yes, just in and out clouds are expected, but this makes the forecast look dull. In fact, we're expecting back-to-back fronts. We're looking at the potential for a huge dip in temperatures, especially if you take into account yesterday all the way to Saturday. And ultimately, we're going to be falling well below average for this time of the year. But when it comes to precipitation, there's just not a lot of moisture in the air. And relative humidity is critically dry right now in the teens with a few 20s, all those measured in percentages. Now, when it comes to the actual temperature outside, we topped out today in the lower to mid 90s for many of us, with some 80s on the map. Top temperature in Sun River, the lowest high temperature was in Sun River at 92. The top temperature was Warm Springs at 96 degrees. So that actually puts us between 2 and 7 degrees cooler than we were 24 hours ago, save just a couple of spots. So the cooling has already started. We just had so much heat yesterday, and that heat is lingering today, but by tomorrow, not only are we back down to near average, we're actually going to be sitting below average for this time of the year. So when it comes to current temperatures, right now we are sitting in the 80s with a few 90s still on the map. It's still 90 in Paulina and Madras and 93 in Warm Springs, but it's also 79 in Sun River. So parts of the high desert already down to that pleasantly warm evening. Now, this is going to be a gorgeous evening to have dinner on the porch or to go for a hike or to really get outside and enjoy Mother Nature, but it's still hot. By tomorrow, it's going to be much better for that in the next couple of days. In fact, this weekend is shaping up to be gorgeous on the high desert. So before we get there, though, we still have some cooling left to go, and we're going from 80s today, actually 90s today, to 81 by 7 to 50s tonight with a few 40s possible. By tomorrow, instead of topping out on either side of 90 degrees, we're losing about 10 degrees. So we're topping out on either side of 80 degrees, low to mid 80s with some 70s on the map. And when it comes to Thursday, we are looking at clearing through the midday hours. So our UV intensity is going to be very high, but look at Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The UV intensity is coming down, and typically we only carry this graphic from Memorial Day to Labor Day. So we're almost at the end of this UV intensity forecast, and that's because the solar angle is just getting a little bit lower. And as we go forward, we're also expecting temperatures to be dropping considerably as well. But fire danger is still up just because we're so critically dry. The surface fuels are already cured. Winds get a little breezy at times, and any fires are likely to spread rapidly. So when it comes to future precipitation, nothing. No rain in sight through Saturday until you get closer to the Cascades, and even at that, it's on the other side of the mountains. Now, when it comes to our temperature trend, the average high is 84. By tomorrow, we're going to be near average, then below average, and we stay below average through Friday, Saturday, Sunday. By Monday, back up to seasonable, and then another cold front rolls in. That cold front brings even more cooling, just not much in the way of rain. Let's talk about that. Here, through the next couple of days, we are staying critically dry on the high desert. So we do have some in and out clouds. We do have areas of smoke. We are looking at times of just poor air quality, but ultimately, we just get in and out clouds, even on Saturday. To start the week, Saturday was our best chance of rain, and even that was just a few sprinkles. Now those sprinkles are out of the equation. And then by Sunday, we're back to sunshine and the next warm-up begins. But that's actually, unfortunately, where this forecast model runs ends, so we have to go to the next one. And it's actually showing that we're looking at a different thing here. This is geopotential heights, and this helps us identify where low pressure is, where the jet stream's running, where high pressure is, and there's a pretty big low just sitting offshore right now. And through the next couple of days, that low works its way back up into Canada. Now, we're catching some in and out clouds. We're looking at our dip in temperatures, but by Saturday, another low pressure digs into the Pacific Northwest. This one comes in, and it's almost a direct hit into Washington. So that brings a deeper drop in temperatures. And then that one rolls out of the area, and another cold front starts to roll in. So that cold front you could see coming out of BC and over the Pacific Ocean, just shy of reaching Vancouver Island at this point, that continues to roll this way and pushes through on Monday. That's actually going to bring a chance of rain, but it's also going to bring a bigger drop in temperatures. And then that whole pulse of moisture, that whole area of energy starts to dig a little further into the Pacific Northwest. So between now and Tuesday at 5 p.m., we are looking at some showers. Not a lot. Some of us stay dry, others just catch some sprinkles. It's the best chance of rain. It's not even a good one. Meanwhile, when it comes to winds, so far this evening, little gusty. Gusts are running between 15 and 25 miles per hour for many, just not quite everybody. And our actual winds are more like 10 to 20 miles per hour. And so gusts not too far away from the actual wind speeds. In the next couple of hours, it's going to be breezy at times, and we have tapering winds. So winds are right now out of the west. They have been out of the southwest through the majority of the day. Once they kick around, just for a couple of hours, to the northwest and then the northeast, that's when smoke starts to roll in. So that's happening during the next 4 hours. Winds continue to shift, and that kicks smoke our way. And by Thursday and Friday, breezy at times, mostly during the afternoon and evening hours, very similar to the normal forecast for this time of the year, with evening winds picking up, and nothing too extravagant or anything like that. Each day we swing around from the south to the northwest and come back around to the south for those winds. So for tonight, expect 50s with a few 40s on the map. By Thursday, we're looking at 80s, lower to mid 80s. I would not be surprised if we only had a couple 70s tomorrow, and even more 70s as we go forward. And by Saturday, most of us are going to be topping out in the 70s. That is going to be very pleasant. I know a lot of people are looking forward to this big cool down, myself included. I'm not going to lie, but we still have plenty of 80s to go. I know it's technically not summer yet, but or it's not, we're not out of summer yet. There we go. But it's not fall yet. But we still have a little bit of summer air left in the forecast. But instead of 80s and 90s through the next 7 days, it's 70s and 80s. Roller coaster temperatures, lows in the 40s with some 30s. And winds are going to indeed get gusty at times. Again, that best chance of rain holds off until Monday and Tuesday. So a quick look at your weather headlines for this Wednesday, August 26th. This August heat is meeting its match. Today was that last round of hot temperatures. By tomorrow, 80s, then 70s. Yeah, that's going to be the theme of our forecast. And we have a pair of weak fronts, but they're not going to bring any precipitation. However, each front that rolls through, stronger winds are expected with another cool down. And Saturday feels like September. And a quick recap of satellite and radar: nothing across the state, just some in and out clouds. And we're continuing to track some of that smoke as well. Right now it's over southern Wasco County. Later tonight starts to dip into Jefferson County. That is the latest in weather. Join us tonight on Central Oregon Daily News. We'll have the latest headlines and another look at your most reliable forecast. The next show is going to be at 6 o'clock, and then another show tonight at 11. We'll see you then.